If you ever wondered why exactly your brain doesn't shut up at times, this is the reason why. Imagine this, it's 2 a.m., you're wide awake in your bed, and you're thinking about a small mistake that you made today. And your brain just keeps on making you watch that moment again and again in an endless loop. Your brain is a courtroom, and you're both the prosecutor and the defendant. Your anxiety keeps on making you think what exactly the other person must have thought when you made that mistake. They all must be disowning you right now because of this small mistake that you made. And it just keeps on jumping onto worst case scenarios. This isn't just some random overthinking. There's a scientific reason onto why your brain does this. In this video, I'm going to break down that exact scientific reason and give you ways onto how to stop it altogether. Your brain has two key players, the amygdala and the cortex. The amygdala is your alarm system. It detects threats before you even know what's happening. The cortex is your thinker. It makes sense of the situations that are around, tries to solve problems, and analyzes what went wrong. When you overthink, these two parts of your brain start a war against themselves. The amygdala says danger, and at the same time, the cortex says, but wait, why? What exactly is danger over here? Let me analyze each and every detail for the next 5 hours. And the result is a cycle of overthinking that seems to never end at all. But why exactly does this happen? In prehistorical times, if our ancestors weren't on alert for potential dangers, they wouldn't survive. For example, a certain noise in the bushes could be a tiger or just the wind, but assuming the worst kept them alive. Fast forward to modern day, the same mechanism is at play, except the tiger over here could be a late reply to your message, or a silly mistake at work, or just an awkward moment in a conversation. The amygdala sees uncertainty as a threat, and the cortex tries to analyze each and everything, trying to take control over it. The irony over here is the more you try to analyze it, the worse it gets. Overthinking doesn't solve problems, it only amplifies them. Let's say you send a message to someone. It could be your boss, your crush, your friend, or like whoever. And the moment you send the message and see that they've received it and still not replied to it, you start imagining scenarios. This is the moment when your amygdala comes in and tells you that you've ruined everything. They're not going to reply you because of XYZ reason. And at the same time, your cortex comes in and tells you, let me analyze each and every scenario and each and every possibility onto why exactly this is happening and why exactly they are not replying to your message. Before you know, you start making imaginary scenarios. Maybe they just hate you, hence they are not replying to you. Or maybe you've just ruined everything by just sending this one particular message and you've just broken your friendship or relationship with them. And it just goes on, seems to never stop at all. The reality over here could be that they were just busy and hence they didn't reply you back. But your brain doesn't really care about reality. It only cares about keeping you safe and secure even from imaginary threats that you create in your mind. Now that you fairly have a good idea of how overthinking works, I'll give you few ways to stop it in the moment. Number one, the pattern interrupt method. Overthinking follows a very predictable pattern, which is trigger, anxiety, overanalysis, which eventually leads to paralysis. To break this loop, you need to break the pattern. A simple way to do this is to change your physical state. If you're lying down on the bed, sit up. If you're just sitting, you need to stand. If you're in a room, you need to walk around somewhere. This tells your brain that you're not stuck over here. Motion disrupts your mental loop. The second way to do this is labeling your thoughts. Neuroscience says that the moment you start labeling onto what exactly is happening to you, it reduces its intensity. For example, when you are in a panic state or an anxious state, you just tell yourself that this is just your amygdala reacting and your cortex trying to overanalyze each and everything. This helps to reduce the intensity or the effects that your overthinking has onto yourself and reduce your cortisol levels a little bit. The last way over here would be mindful distractions, and over here I don't mean by avoiding the situation altogether. Instead of fighting with overthinking heads on, you need to redirect your focus. Instead, engage in an activity which requires full mental engagement. For example, it could be solving a puzzle, exercising, or even just reading something that's a bit challenging. The key over here is to choose activities that engage both your mind and your body. Overthinking isn't a personality trait, it's a brain function gone rogue.